Good Monday evening. Welcome to Midwest Sportsnet. Hi, I'm Joey McWilliams. We are talking NAIA football on this edition of Midwest Sports Now. I invite you to come along and be a part of the ride tonight. Always enjoy getting to see everyone. Listen, let me know from where you happen to be watching this video tonight. Let us know in the comments section. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you and your support as we talk about small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond. Let's get right into it now here. We're going to talk top 5 performances in NAIA football, but first we go beyond the 5. We talk about some of the performances that didn't quite make our top 5, but definitely were a big part of week 7 in the NAIA this weekend. How about Indiana Wesleyan? Again, my dark horse pick, one of my 2 dark horse picks, and both those teams were in action this weekend. One had good results, one not so much. So let's go to Indiana Wesleyan, a team that wasn't picked to win its conference, but I said I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. So far, Indiana Wesleyan is doing everything that it needs to do to be in that position. And another win this weekend, defeating Lawrence Tech 35-14. Xavier Stokes had a good afternoon, 21 of 34 passing, 308 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also had a 5-yard touchdown run as well. Pretty good performance for Stokes. Jaquez Carter with 13 receptions, 181 yards through the air, and 2 of those touchdown passes that Stokes threw. So Indiana Wesleyan well on its way. Now, the Wildcats will play St. Francis next week, and that probably is the biggest test on the remainder of the schedule for Indiana Wesleyan. And I think the Wildcats are going to be in for a playoff spot. So we'll see how that works out. Terrence Roberts, Bethel, and the Wildcats continue to roll. They're undefeated. And Roberts had 22 carries for 161 yards and 1 touchdown as Bethel defeated Campbellsville. And it was a closer game than what some people might have thought. 39-31 on Saturday. The Wildcats are undefeated. For Benedictine, Rayshawn Mills had 10 carries for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. 10.2 yards per carry for Mills, and Benedictine comes away with a 47-0 victory over Central Methodist. The Eagles shut out again, and it just has been it's been a rough season for Central Methodist, so there's just no way around that. Benedictine comes away again with a 47-point victory. How about Siena Heights getting the win this weekend? 45-26 over Madonna, and there's another team that is yet to get into the win column this season. There was a lot more expected for Central Methodist. I think that's the thing. Madonna does not get the win, not again. Siena Heights 45-26 over Madonna. Caleb Jefferson, 22 carries, 161 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He also had 4 receptions for 49 yards, 210 yards of all-purpose yards on the day. And by the way, how about Joseph Wharton? 3.5 tackles for loss, 7 tackles overall. Wharton had 3 sacks on the day. Big afternoon for Siena Heights, big afternoons for Jefferson and Wharton as well. Reinhardt. Now, this was a big game, and here was the other of the 2 teams that I thought were dark horse teams this year. Bluefield, I had as a dark horse team, not picked to win the conference, not picked to win the AAC, but if the Rams were able to get past Reinhardt, really would be in a position, I thought, to still make the playoffs. Didn't happen this time. 45-21. Bluefield is now 0 for 8 all-time against Reinhardt. And Reinhardt, led by Devin Collins, 15 carries, 100 yards on the day and had 2 touchdowns. Hey, Stephen, glad to see you are on board tonight. Thanks for watching. Giving a shout out to the Texas Wesleyan Rams. We'll mention them here in just a moment. Rontavious Farmer and St. Thomas, the Bobcats, get the big win over Florida Memorial, 38-7 on Saturday. Farmer had 29 carries for 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good win for Taylor on Saturday as well. Taylor 24, Concordia 21. Bit of an upset there as Taylor comes away with a 3-point victory. Jacob Hockett for Taylor with, and by the way, great defensive effort. These are numbers you don't see really often. How about this? 20 tackles on the day, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, including that 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 pass breakup as well. Jacob Hockett, a fantastic afternoon. Friends gets back into the win column on homecoming, 42-7 over Sterling, led by another good defensive performance. Nolan Ewing, 3 interceptions, 39 yards, and had a pick 6 of 32 yards along the way. Had a couple of tackles, including 1 tackle for loss. Now, we have another of our performers here that comes away with 3 interceptions as well. That's a little bit later on. Ewing's 3 picks, very big. The pick 6, not necessary to the win, I don't think. They're going to come away with a 42-7 victory overall, but it was a good afternoon for the Falcons. Let's move on to those Texas Wesleyan Rams, and the Rams get a big victory. We'll pause here for just a moment and talk about Texas Wesleyan and Langston. The Rams 53, the Lions 28. First loss of the season for Langston. So Texas Wesleyan gets a big win. Now, talking playoffs, and I know the guys over at NAIA Football have been talking playoffs now. It's about time to do that. So let's throw this one out here. Langston still is in a good position even with the 1 loss. OUAZ has just 1 loss. And that now with Texas Wesleyan with the 1 loss on the schedule, everybody still is in the mix here. This Sooner Athletic Conference playoff spot, and there likely will be just 1, but the Sooner Athletic playoff spot is still up for grabs. Lots more that is on the way. And speaking of Langston, Midwest Sports Saturday will be at Langston this coming Saturday. 5 days from now, we will be on campus at Anderson Stadium, and it's always fun to get to see there, get to watch a ball game there. We'll be there. We'll be going live at either noon or 1 o'clock on Saturday. Texas Wesleyan, led by Ernest Caesar, 14 carries, 158 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Dalton Dale, 6 for 18, just 88 yards passing on the day. It was a low day for him, still had a touchdown pass as well. Got everything he needed from everybody. Team effort all the way around. Now, we can't get by without saying Langston had some good performers. Larry Harrington, again, 18 for 39, 311 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also had 8 carries for 30 yards. And Ivory Will Wright, with 7 receptions, 129 yards receiving on the day, had a touchdown as well. But again, Texas Wesleyan, now Langston, now OUAZ, all with that 1 loss. Who's going to come away on top? Well, we'll find that one out as the season goes on. Someone's going to get that SAC playoff spot, so we'll just see who it boils down to. But again, the Rams with a 53-28 victory. Concordia of Nebraska gets another win, back to back now for the Bulldogs. And Corell Colmoose, another big day, 9 receptions. He became the all-time leader in receptions last week in Concordia for 106 yards. Now he's the all-time leader in receiving yards for Concordia. Had 2 touchdown catches, also punted the ball twice, averaged 37 yards per punt, and he ran back 2 kickoff returns for a total of 54 yards. Day at the office for Colmoose. Absolutely fantastic day for him, and he's just rewriting the record book there in Concordia. Devin Ziegler, by the way, with 19 carries for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Bulldogs. Bulldogs back-to-back wins now for Coach Daberco. Let's move on to some more dual threat quarterbacks. I just mentioned a couple in the last game with Dalton Dale and Larry Harrington, but these next gentlemen also had big days as well. We move over to Northwestern. Jalen Gramstad, who has come in as the season has gone in and really taken over. Gramstad, 22 for 33 passing, 244 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Also had 19 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown on the ground. And each one of these next 4 quarterbacks has had at least 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown on the day. Northwestern, 23-0. They shut out Dort, and Gramstad with 325 total offensive yards for Gramstad. Big day for Northwestern. They get another win. Eli Williams for Avila, and the Eagles are making a statement in the KCAC. They get another big victory on Saturday, 28-14 over Bethel. So taking out a top 10 opponent there. Eli Williams, 17 for 34 passing, 202 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 14 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown run as well. 281 total offensive yards for Eli Williams. And again, Avila with a big victory. And the Eagles are putting themselves in a position for a playoff spot from the KCAC. Now, last year, there were 3 teams that were fighting for 2 spots. My opinion, KCAC should have gotten 3 playoff spots. The NAI did not ask me. I don't know. Anyway, they didn't ask me. But if they had, I would have said, look, find a way to get the KCAC3 playoff spots. They got only 2. Not sure that they're going to get 2 this year. We'll see how this works out. It would be close, but Avila is putting itself in a position to get, if there is only 1, to get that 1. The Eagles continue to roll. Sam Tamilty for St. Francis from Illinois, 11 for 20 passing, 176 yards, 3 touchdown passes, 1 pick. He also had 25 carries for 128 yards on the ground and a touchdown run. St. Francis, 45, Judson, 16. St. Francis, Sam Tamilty, not to be confused with Scott, with 304 total offense yards on the day. And again, 4 touchdowns he was responsible for. But wait, there's more. How about this one? Cameron Crouch for Olivet Nazarene, 19 for 26 passing, 356 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, all of them had at least 1 interception, but they all had 1 rushing touchdown as well. 25 carries, 12 carries, 37 yards. There we go. And 1 rushing touchdown. Crouch with 393 total offensive yards on the day, responsible for 5 touchdowns. Olivet Nazarene, 34. St. Ambrose, the Bees make it close, get to within 28, 34-28. Olivet Nazarene, the Tigers win. Excuse me. One more. I want to throw this one out there for you too. A good game on the day. Mid-American Nazarene 20, Baker 14. This is not your everyday Baker Wildcat team. Mid-American Nazarene had Adrian Parsons throw a touchdown pass to Caden Brown for 7 yards. They had 2 touchdowns on the day. One was Parsons to Brown for 7 yards. The other touchdown on the day for Mid-American Nazarene was Caden Brown to Adrian Parsons for 7 yards. So, turnabout's fair play, I guess. All right, we are turning this over right now and making sure I get to the top 5. And I want to get this graphic up here really quickly so that you can see. And while I am getting that up there, so you get a kind of an idea of where we're going with our remainder of the show here in the top 5. I've been broadcasting sports for well more than 20 years now, 22, 23. And in doing all of this, I do my best to stay neutral. I always try to stay neutral unless I'm broadcasting and being paid by a certain school for a certain team. That happens. But for the most part, I like to stay neutral. That having been said, I got to spend this past weekend at one of my daughter's houses, and one of my daughter's house, new home. Family and I went up there. We got to spend time with her and got to watch Oklahoma State, from which I have a degree, a journalism broadcasting degree, sports media from Oklahoma State. The Cowboys came up short in double overtime, but the other team I was watching was also in orange, and that's the Tennessee Volunteers. I have been a fan of the Tennessee Volunteers since the mid-'80s, watching them on WTBS. Some of you may even remember that far back. I have to tell you, I was not unbiased. I was totally biased. I was totally for Tennessee, and I thoroughly enjoyed that game. It was very stressful, but I don't cheer for teams as much anymore because I enjoy talking about all these teams out here. I enjoy talking about Texas Wesleyan, talking about Langston, talking about the teams we're going to talk about here. And it was just interesting to be a fan again. And boy, the Vols did not disappoint. So had a lot of fun. Now that you see where we're going with the top 5, let's talk about those top 5. And if you have a comment, I was going to ask you, who do you think should be in the top 5? Should one of these be up there? Maybe somebody else that you might know about? I think these are pretty good top 5 performers from the week gone by in the NAIA. Let's start in South Dakota with Dakota Wesleyan. Adam DeJong helps the Tigers get their first win of the season. Not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions on the day. And get this, 2 of them were pick sixes. Now, what's the difference between the one that I had a little earlier with Ewing from Friends? These 2 pick sixes were very, very important because Dakota Wesleyan won by just 7. 31-24 over Briar Cliff on Saturday. The Tigers get their first victory of the season, and they do so with a lot of help from DeJong. 2 pick sixes on the day. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, move on down. Wade James. Well, we had a defensive player. I know lots of times these are all offensive players. We had a defensive player, so let's go to special teams now. Wade James for Dickinson State. Now, the Blue Hawks made a statement against Waldorf. Waldorf had come in. Only loss of the season had been to the number 1 team in Division II, in NCAA Division II, and they Waldorf with one loss on the season. Dickinson State had two already. This could have been a big win for the Warriors, and the Warriors come out driving. Dickinson State stops them, makes them turn the ball over on downs, and it was all Blue Hawks from that point on. 50-7 Dickinson State over Waldorf. And how about Wade James on the day? 5 for 5 field goals, 5 for 5 extra points. James by himself accounted for 20 of the 50 points on the board for the Blue Hawks on the day. And a big day from a special teams player like that. You have to give that a shout out, and we do so. Wade James on our top 5 list. So we will move. Oh, by the way, I mentioned this. Riley Linder, big day for the Blue Hawks as well. 16 carries, 122 yards, and a touchdown. So we move from North Dakota. Let's move on down to Illinois. Roosevelt. The Lakers continue to shine this season. Roosevelt 42, Trinity International 14. A big day from Tyler Tenner on the ground. 25 carries, 220 yards. That's pretty good performance right there. You're well above, right at the 9 yards per carry mark there, a little bit shy of that. 5 touchdown carries on the day for Tenner, and the Lakers get another big victory. Lakers making a play also for a playoff spot. They're going to be in the mix as the season starts to wind down now. We're past the midway point, so it's definitely starting to wind down. Moving from Illinois, let's move on over to Iowa. Morningside yet again. Another big day for the Mustangs. Now, Joe Dolenchek, we're going to talk about his numbers, but he can't have some of these numbers without other players. So we have listed there on the graphic. Okay, you see right there? Okay, my pin's behind the graphic. But there's Joe Dolenchek right there. 30 for 38, 503 yards passing, 5 touchdown passes, 1 interception on the day. That's not so bad. But you know what? I think it's equally impressive when you distribute the ball as well as Morningside and Dolenchek were able to do. 3 players for the Mustangs had more than 100 yards receiving on the day. Zach Norton, 11 receptions, 196 yards, and 2 touchdown catches. Austin Johnson, 8 receptions, 135 yards, and 2 touchdown catches. Joshua Simmons didn't score, but he still had 6 receptions for 117 yards. A big, big day for all of those receivers. And I'm not going to neglect Ryan Cole, who had 20 carries for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. So Joe Dolenchek leading the way. Morningside 59, Jamestown 7. Top team in the country remains the top team in the country. Finally, and this one's a big one, Texas College gets a big win on Saturday. Why is it a big win? It's their only one of the season. As a matter of fact, you have to go back to 2019. On September 26th of 2019, Texas College defeated Southwestern Assemblies of God 24-17. That was the last win. That was more than 3 years ago. It's been a long time coming, and it almost turned out to be an even more long time coming, a longer time coming, if you will, because Texas College trailed Lyon in this game in the fourth quarter, 34-16. It was a 22-0 fourth quarter rally for the Steers over the Scots in this game. Texas College with those 22 points in the fourth quarter. How about Isaiah Sadler? Get this. I mean, this is a huge day for Sadler. 34 for 53, 545 passing yards on the day. That's right. Scott's defense optional. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Fantastic day. Hats off to Isaiah Sadler with a huge afternoon. And one of the top receivers in the NAIA this season, TJ Hookfin, 13 receptions, 217 yards, and 3 touchdown catches. Oh, he also had a 2-point conversion on the final touchdown that made sure that it was going to be Lyon couldn't come back and just put a field goal on the board. Congratulations to the Steers. They go up 36-34. Hookfin gets the 2-point conversion, 38-34. And congratulations to the Texas College Steers with the first win of the season, first win in more than 3 years. A fantastic day for the Steers there, 34 over Lion. I want to say thanks to everyone for watching tonight. Watching this channel is not something that I take lightly or take for granted, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Stephen, for watching and commenting. Anyone else want to comment? That's fine. I would just remind you, please subscribe to the channel. Those things really do help. We do have our Patreon page listed in the description, so please feel free to stop by and contribute to the channel. It does help as well. We enjoy covering small college sports and more throughout the Midwest and beyond, and we're going to be taking the show on the road. I believe we'll be able to go live from not an undisclosed location. I've already told you one of them, Langston, next week, and very possibly, very, very likely from Hot Springs, Arkansas on the following Saturday, and then we'll see. We'll be covering some soccer, broadcasting soccer championship on November 5th and volleyball tournament championship on November 12th. We'll be in Shawnee. I do know that one. November 12th, we'll be broadcasting live that morning from Shawnee, so tune in for Midwest Sports Saturday for that broadcast. In the meantime, thank you to everyone for watching. Please, again, do subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Please like and share the video. Those are things that help as well, and it means a lot that you are a part of this broadcast. I enjoy getting to visit with you every Monday night for top 5 performances, and football and volleyball season is starting to wind down, so we'll have some playoff talk and coverage as we go on. Oh, one other thing, too. We have, the next 2 days, we have interviews with the preseason favorites from the Sooner Athletic Conference in both women's basketball and men's basketball. I can't say yet who they are. Find out tomorrow, because the releases will be made from the Sooner Athletic Conference office tomorrow and Wednesday. But on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have conversations with the coaches for the preseason favorites in women's and men's basketball in the Sooner Athletic Conference. So right here on Midwest Sportsnet, stop by to see that. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks a lot. God bless you all. You guys have a great night.